There's a special freedom just outside your door. From the mountains to the sea, the islands to the shore, an American adventure for those who hear the call. And all of us who love to hunt and fish, we share it all with John Fox, the American outdoorsman, capturing the moment we've all been looking for, and sharing the adventure with excitement you'll recall when you see the great outdoors with John Fox. You see it all.
It's time for John Fox's Great Outdoors with your host, yours truly, John Fox. John Fox's Great Outdoors is sponsored by our good friends at Mountain Shadow Lakes, El Paso, Texas fishing hotspot. Bill Lewis Lures, the Rattle Trap people from Alexandria, Louisiana. Strike King Lures from Collierville, Tennessee. Bill Norman Lures, Greenwood, Arkansas. And Gerwin Vans, Class on Wheels.
With excitement you'll recall when you see the great outdoors with John Fox. You see it all.
Hi, this is John Fox. I'm the host of ESPN's Outdoor Adventures on television. You know, one of my favorite sports of all sports in hunting is the great sport of deer hunting. Good deer hunting doesn't happen. It takes preparation, and it takes somebody to show you how the first time. Of all of the sports that I've ever tried, you have to know a little something, a little deer savvy, if you're going to be a successful deer hunter. You saw at the very first of this film someone that I'm sure you recognized. If you're a football fan, that's Daryle Lamonica. Daryle, of course, for several years was a star quarterback for the Oakland Raiders. He led them to 3 Super Bowls. But Daryle Lamonica, that you're going to see on this videotape, you're going to meet Daryle Lamonica, one of the greatest outdoorsmen in America. A guy that loves kids, just like I do. And he's going to take a young viewer who wrote us from San Antonio, Texas. His name is Jeremy. And Daryle's going to show him the know-how to make him a successful deer hunter. And of course, you're going to get to see again the rest of what you saw at the first of this tape. And that's Jeremy getting his Christmas buck. Let's join Daryle Lamonica now, and Jeremy, as he shows him around the ranch and gives him a little deer savvy.
Jeremy, there's a lot of natural hazards in the wilderness. Yesterday while I was scouting before you and your dad got here, I spotted this buck with my binoculars from up on the hill. He tried jumping this fence. You can see he got his hoof cut right here in the top 3 strands of this barbed wire fence. And it just had to be a horrible way of dying. You can see where he really struggled here. Looked like he's been here a couple days. You know, it's just, that's why, you know, it's Mother Nature has her way about harvesting certain amount of things. That's why it's our heritage from our forefathers and our fathers and young people like yourself that have the right to bear arms and to hunt. To see an animal die this way, I think, is a real tragedy. The National Rifle Association is probably fighting the hardest for all of us sportsmen to let us bear arms and to hunt the way it was meant to be. You make a clean kill on an animal, and you should be joining that organization soon. It's a great organization. They teach a lot of young people like yourself how to hunt. But, you know, you see a real trophy buck like this that had to die a horrible death. But those things do happen in the wilds. You have to be ready for them, and maybe we can get a buck bigger than this one. You think so? That'd be great. But it was a tragedy. I would like to have got here earlier while he was still alive and been able to free him, but we'll make a nice clean shot on yours, okay? Great. Jeremy, we're going to try to give you a few tips here to help you become a better deer hunter. See this, when you get in a canyon area like this, they got these what they call headers, or more commonly known as a draw. Big bucks don't like to get out in the open. They'll stay right in the bottom of these draws in this real thick, brushy stuff. That's where they like to bed up during the daytime. they'll be able to sneak in and out of here. They like to lay right in amongst it so that, you know, they can't be seen. They kind of blend right in. It's real thick. Anytime you see real thick country, that's the area that I like to hunt, because that's normally where your real big bucks hang out. You get a lot of these junipers and mesquite. There's all types of real thick brush in there. It's pretty hard for a man to even walk through, because most of those mesquite has big long thorns, and you just can't get close to the deer. Right over here, I'll show you a place where some deer have been bedded down. They love to get right in this stuff right here. Come in, you can walk right on by them. I walk right by from here to you from deer, and they won't even get up until after you've gone on by. You can come right on in here. They crawl right up under this stuff. But you can get right back in here. Come here, I'll show you. So they get back in here and they make beds, and they'll lay right in here. They'll let you walk right on by if you can. A deer is really smart. If you don't spot him, he'll just lay real still and not even move at all. But you can see right here how he's been laying right here. Right in here. He just curls up, bundles right up, and just lays right in there. Tucks those all four legs under him, so he just comes flying out of there like a shot. See how thick it is in here? And this is the way deer really do. Remember how it rained hard the other day? So you'd be inside here, you stay nice and dry. They don't like to get wet just like us. They really don't. They don't like to get wet. So they stay in here, but they're protected. Nothing can get in. A coyote can't sneak in on them without them able to jump and run out. So, okay. You get out here now, Jeremy, there's several ways you can hunt deer. The way we're going to hunt this weekend, we're going to rattle them up with horns. But if you had this big draw like I just showed you right here, you could get a couple other hunters, and they'll make a drive. You put a couple hunters on a stand up there, and these big old bucks will sneak right out. The driver won't even hear them. But he'll sneak right on by, hopefully, by our standers up there. The guy that's waiting on stand will catch him sneaking out of the brush, and he'll get a nice, easy shot. We're going to hunt just a little differently. We're going to rattle them up with horns, and hopefully they'll come in looking for a fight. Come on over, maybe we can get a better look at this country. Jeremy, a real interesting way to look for big buck country is if you can find a buck scrape. Now, a scrape is where he paws on the ground right here. You can see he broke off some limbs around. He'll actually urinate in that, roll in it, paw on it. And what he's doing there, that means that he say, I'm the biggest buck in this whole territory. This is my territory, and all you little bucks stay out. Now, other does, it's mating season. That's why we'll be able to rattle them up with the horns and look for scrapes like this. They only do this during the mating season, because that's why the doe and the buck will get together. You can see the broken limbs. I saw one. Here it is, right here. The broken limb right here. He's busted one off right here. Chipped one right here. See, that's part of that one that fell right in the scrape. He'll just stomp around it. Then he comes back and forth every so often to check his scrape to see if there's any does hanging around here, female deer. And then they'll get together and they'll go off and then make little baby deer. But the big thing, that's probably that buck that we saw jumping the fence that got all tangled up in the wire. This could have been his scrape. Maybe he was coming back to check his scrape. But that lets us know one thing. There's some awful big bucks in this country. You know, all we got to do is find water. There's good feed here. We just looked at those deep canyons where all that brush and stuff is. That's what, if we're in the right elements, I feel real confident, don't you, that we'll be able to get you that big old Christmas buck. You learn all these little tips, and you know, maybe you can find one, maybe you can't. But boy, if you can, your odds of getting a big old buck are really good. And that's what we're looking for. Okay? All these little things that come together. You know, you can't learn it all in just one hunt. But each time you go out into the woods, and I got a great love for the outdoors, I'm sure you do too, you learn all these little tricks from a lot of different people, then you'll be an expert hunter, then you'll be able to pass that on to your sons. Okay? Let's go on. See, you've got all these little cedar trees. Deer like to nibble. They like to get up right here. See, all these trees have thorns on them right here. But if you pay attention, see, here's a game trail going right through here. It's just going right on. See it going right on up through there? Look at this trail right here. See, it looks just like a freeway. You know, Mother Nature has her way of just pointing everything out to us. And everything's painted as a pretty picture on the ground if you can just read it. I've had a lot of old-timers over the years show me how, guides and what have you. You know, Jeremy, you know, I was fortunate to have an adult, you know, teaching you have to show these things. That's why that National Rifle Association is so important, because they teach you gun safety, how to handle yourself in the woods, and we've got to get everybody involved in that, you know, to teach young people how to handle weapons and how to hunt and be a very successful hunter. And those things are important. I was very lucky. I've had a lot, you know, my father loved to hunt and fish, and he showed me a lot of things, and a lot of guides over the years have taught me a lot of things, and you know, this is how we pass it on. Here's one of the biggest pet peeves I have right here. Try to teach you to be a good environmentalist. If you pack it in, pack it out. That's always been a pet peeve of mine. People just throw their gum wrappers or candy wrappers, cigarette wrappers. You pick those. It's just easy to carry. It doesn't weigh anything. Take it back, put it in the garbage can, and keep the wilds clean. You know, our outdoors are made for everybody, and they should be the same as they were 100 years ago, so your son can enjoy it just in its natural state, just like we see right here. See right here? There's more of that coyote with deer hair in it. Come on, I've got a couple other things I want to show you before we actually go hunting, because they sure help your hunting skills. See, Jeremy, as you're walking along, look, here's some coyote droppings right here. If you kind of look and you pay attention to what's going on, here's some hair. Well, it almost looks like deer hair. Well, here's some more hair right here. Looks like a fight. Oh, here's a carcass over here. Look at this. Jeremy, here's another way that Mother Nature has a way of getting rid of deer, and it's through natural predators. This happened to be done by a pack of coyotes. You can know there's coyotes. Look where you can see where they drug it down the hill. Look at all the coyote droppings. See here, there was more than one, at least three. We can see three there. But it doesn't necessarily have to be a wounded deer or a deer that's sick. A pack of coyotes will take on a healthy buck, a doe, and it don't matter, and run it to death or circle it. I've seen that happen in various states. You know, kill a life-size animal, and you can imagine what a horrible death that was, where they were drugged down. But she put up a good fight, but they just happened to get a little more of it. But you know, this is how there's sign everywhere. If you just read the sign, you can tell exactly what happened right here. It's not too old, too. This is within the last 3 or 4 days that they've done this. But you can see where they drug her all the way around this tree and stuff. You know, if you just kind of look around, you'll see a lot of things that you can tell it was a doe, too. See, there's no horns. Well, that skin's still soft, so that's not too old. Okay.
What is this?
That, Jeremy, that's a dropped horn. You can tell that we're in pretty good buck country. See, you can tell where it just come right off his head. It's right here. A deer goes through a sex cycle every year, and as soon as those horns, he loses horns every year, and then they grow new horns. And each year they come out. He might be a 8-pointer one year, a 10-pointer the next year, but that's Mother Nature's way of letting him grow new horns every year.
What eats on the end of these?
Well, porcupines eat this. Squirrels will gnaw on it. And the reason they do, they get the calcium and the salt out of that horn right there. But it's always a good indication that we're in real big buck country, because they'll drop their horns right here. We know they're living here. So this is just another way. You'll find if you pay attention as you walk through the woods, always look where you step, be real quiet. Sign is everywhere. I'm confident, aren't you? We're in good big buck country? Good. Jeremy, another tip I'd like to pass on to you is something that I think you got to be comfortable when you're hunting. When it's cold and it's miserable and that wind's blowing and you get a chill. That's why I like to wear this Mustang flotation suit. I wear it when I'm professionally bass fishing or when I'm out in the elements where I know it's going to be really cold. It's important you notice I got it in the camouflage color because I like to blend in with it. I like to wear a head net, and when we rattle up, or sometimes you just you disappear. I can see through this whether I'm shooting my bow or my rifle. I like to just put on my camouflage gloves. I got to be comfortable. If you're not comfortable, you'll just kind of blend in. It'll be a little easier hunting the way we are, because we're going to rattle them up, and we'll build a little blind, get right back in amongst some cedars, and kind of disappear with the natural surroundings of the territory. But the most important thing, you've got to be comfortable, and you've got to be able to blend in and just kind of disappear. So that's a tip that you go. I'll tell you, the first thing you do, like especially I've got insulated boots, the first thing to do if you're going to be on a stand or spend any length of time, when those old toes get cold and your old hands get freezing and you're trying to get them warm like that, it's just a miserable afternoon. You'll be thinking, I want to go back in for a hot cup of chocolate. But your serious hunters, they'll stay out there from sun up to sundown, and that's the way I taught. I guess I tried to play football that way. You never give up until the last little bit of daylight, because you never know when that great big trophy buck will come out. All right? Good enough, partner. Jeremy, see the droppings right here? See, we're not far from that scrape that we just had. Look, you can see we're even, hooked it. Does don't do this. He grabbed that with his horn. You can see where he scraped on that a little bit. But see, just like us laying down, a big old buck could get in here where he can look all around this area and see danger coming. But he also has all that brush and those draws right behind him, so he can sneak and get right in there just like that. But he's always protected, but he wants to see whether it's a predator, a coyote, or whatever's sneaking up on him. He knows, and he's alerted, and he'll sneak right out of here, and you'll never even know that he was in the area. I think it's about time we get back to the ranch house and see what they got going and get ready to go hunting, huh? Let's go do it.
Hopefully, an experienced deer hunter still got something from what you just saw. The novice, you guys and gals and kids that are trying to learn should have gotten a lot of information. But I know you're waiting to see what happened on that hunt. So let's join Daryle and Jeremy now as they go on their hunt.
Let's go get them, boys. The weather's not the best, but maybe it'll work out all right for us.
David, what is
They're
this?
usually moving this kind of weather.
Even with this high forecast, overcast here?
Well, even with the overcast, they'll be out getting a drink and get hungry just like all of us.
What do you think about that, Jeremy? Maybe we'll get that big old buck, that big Christmas buck,
You
huh?
ready to go get the big one this morning? Good.
Good.
Well, let's go get the big one.
All right.
Load them up.
Got your binoculars and everything already, huh? You don't get a lot of rain here. What's your annual rainfall, David? A lot of you get out in here, huh, Jeremy? You said those here a while ago. Huh? Yeah. How many deer do you have this part of the country?
64 to the section.
64 deer to a section. Wow. How many sections do you own in here, David?
11 sections.
11 sections. Wow. Well, that ought to give us a lot of land to hunt on, Jeremy, huh? Get that big one. How big a buck do you think you're going to get for Christmas? Is that your Christmas present?
Yes.
Well, I hope we can get you a great big old buck. That'd sure be nice. Here it is, right over in here, Jerry.
Right down there with the hole in it, where the water stays out there.
Yeah. Right over here.
Look at the tracks and see if we can find a big deer. See Indian tracks right down here where the water hole is. Let's go down there and look at it, and then we'll start looking for our deer. Indians used it later on in history and so forth and so on. Then there's tracks all in this rock. But this was here when we first came here, when my great-grandfather homesteaded this country back in the 1800s. But see your little water hole, it's been here all these time, and deer still come here all the time to get a drink. So maybe we can get you big deer in here today. But this water hole will be a real good place because the deer have been watering here, and I've seen some good ones in here the last few days coming in here watering, and you can get your horns, and I bet we can rattle you up a good buck this morning.
Let's go
There's
get our
3 or 4
rifle
that
and
stay here all the time.
let's go get our rifle and our horns and come back and get
See if
set
you
up
can't
here.
get that Christmas deer this morning. You ready? Okay.
We'll sneak right down in here, Jeremy. You gotta be real quiet now. Because when you sneak in on your blind, you never know. There might be a buck up here feeding already. We'll sneak right over here. You gotta be real quiet. We'll get up here and get our blind all made up, okay? That's the most important thing when you go in and put up your blind. You can't make a lot of noise. You gotta go in and be real quiet. Try to step around, be real quiet. Pick your spots now. We'll get back in these trees right here and set up. Feel lucky today. Boy, me too. Fresh sign right here. Hey, we get that big old buck coming in and take a drink of water. Jeremy, there's a fresh rub, this big buck sign. Look how fresh it is. Big old buck, he'll take his horns and he'll rub and scrape it off like he's done. Boy, that's great. He polishes, he rubs all the velvet off. Let's go set up. That's a good sign. He'll be back to check on that. Let's set up by this live oak and this juniper tree right here. We'll get in, make her blind, get all set up here, buddy. Okay? Let me have you hold the rifle, okay? Get right in. He'll probably come. We'll get back in, he'll probably come from this direction. Most important thing now when you set up your rattling, you gotta worry about where the wind's coming from. He'll try to go around us and come up downwind so he can get our scent. Hopefully if we get real lucky, he'll probably come from this direction. Back in here, anywhere out in front of us, he'll probably come. We got a little disadvantage, but we'll be all set up when we're back in here. Yeah, we gotta get off and get comfortable. What I'm gonna do here, Jeremy, break you off a limb or so, give you a good rest. You're gonna lean your rifle right up there, right there. Bang, and we get him. You can move up there, see? Okay, can you get up there? There you go, just like so. The reason we're gonna pick this area right here, we know he's feeding at the watering hole. We just checked that out. I'm sure he'll come up there, so we'll have a pretty good view of all that. When he comes up there, you'll get a real clean shot at it. Is that steady enough from here? You get up, get a little closer. Okay. Okay, reach up here with your left hand. Okay, now take your right hand and get up. Okay. That's good, okay. Germany. We're gonna rattle them up now. They're in the rut. The rut means they're in the fighting season, they're in the breeding season. Okay? And we bang these horns together. It sounds like two big old bucks fighting. If another buck's in the area, he'll think somebody's getting in on his territory and he'll come looking for a fight. So if you see any kind of movement or motion now, just tap me real slow. No real quick movements now, okay? If I see one that will ease the gun right there, I'll help you. And then we'll see. But make sure you get a good clean shot before you shoot, okay, buddy? Alright, let's see if we can rattle one up now and get him come in. You be ready at all times now, okay? He's a beauty. safety off. Wait, okay. Wait a minute. Oh, he's a beauty. He's a beauty. Okay, get up there and get close. Okay, shoot him right in the chest now. Go ahead, just shoot him right in the chest. Good shot, come on, Jeremy, you got him down. Come on, buddy. Come on. Chest. Good shot, buddy. Oh, boy. Oh, look at this. Be careful now. He might get up on us. Oh, Jeremy, look at this, partner. Huh? Oh, wow. Oh, is he a beauty?
9-pointer.
A 9-pointer. Huh? Give me 5, buddy, huh? Woo! 10 years old and got a big old Christmas present. Look at that. Is he a beauty? Oh, if I've got a boy, I got one 9 years old, I'm going to be envious of you, buddy. Maybe I can have him back now, next year to hunt with Dave. Get his good Christmas present. Look at this beauty. Oh, wow. Right there, right where you point. You shoot him right in the chest, huh? Oh, what a beauty. Look, he's got double eye guards right here. Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Almost 10 there, Jeremy. Oh, boy. That's a gorgeous rack. Isn't they pretty, huh? Oh, man. Look at that. Nice big white rack. That's about a 15-inch rack. Excellent. What do you think? Awful big, isn't he? We're going to mount him, hang him right on your wall. Where's he going to go in your room?
Above the door, maybe.
Above the door, huh? See these points? This might have been that same one that rub we saw a while ago.
Might have been.
See, he's got a little moss in here. See, he's been rubbing. Huh? Look at this. Yeah, he was scraping on that bark of that tree. See it right here in his knobs on his horn?
Boy, those horns really work.
They do, I tell you. These big old bucks, when they're looking for a fight, you just bang those horns together like we were doing. Sometimes they'll come immediately, and like this one here, it took him about 10, 12 minutes or so, even a little longer. I couldn't hardly tell, but he did come into us, I'll tell you. I've had him almost jump right on top of it, almost on top of it. That is excellent. That is really great. Oh boy, I can still remember my very first one. I was 12 years old. You beat me by 2 years. I still have that buck mounted on my wall. I remembered like if I shot him yesterday. All right, Jeremy, let's drag him back. Reach in the inside of the horn so that make sure that one of those points don't give. You can help me drag it back, and we'll field dress him and everything when we get him back in there. Okay, here we go. Oh boy, man, he's a big one, isn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm glad that truck's not that far away.
Must have a lot of meat in fat.
You betcha. Over here, Dave. All right. We got a beauty. Oh, he made a beautiful shot. I tell you, he got, look at this. Isn't that great? Oh,
That is a great deer.
one shot. Got to lean right up there and got one shot. Just made a beautiful
Boy,
shot on
that's a beauty, isn't it, Jeremy? That rattling those old horns gets you a good one, didn't it?
Give me 5 again, buddy. All right. Man, I tell you.
That was a beautiful shot on that one.
Oh, he did. Look, he got him right here, right in the chest, right where he's aiming. That's super. Man, my man right here. Boy.
That's a good boy.
Turn around, we got a good lean on the tree. Made an excellent shot. Super.
That looks great.
Well, let's get him all loaded up and we'll get him back.
We'll back up and we'll
Feel. Let me get around on that side, Jeremy. Let him back the truck right up here and we can load him right in the back end of the truck. Back it right in here. We can just load him right up. All right, let's go. We'll all lift together here. Okay. Right up in there. All right. Oh.
There we go. Now we'll take him on into camp and dress him.
Okay. All
Feet on the table.
right.
Not a bad little 9-pointer.
Not at all.
Noted outdoorsman Ken McClanahan has probably killed more deer than any one person that I know of. He's lived and kind of grew up in the woods. Field dressing a deer can be a messy chore, and it can also be one that's kind of hard to do unless you know how to do it the right way. Let's join Ken McClanahan now as he shows a quick way to field dress a deer. You know, we've had a lot of our viewers talk about the fact that it takes a long time to field dress deer. I think one of the most important things, of course, is having the right tools. This particular knife here is kind of a woodsman type of knife. It's made by Gerber. It's got a good thick blade on it, as you can see here. Even has a little serration here to where you could get in and maybe cut a bone. This is a Schrade here, the old-timer. It's the Uncle Henry, I think they call it, but it's an old knife, but again, it's got a real thick blade, and you're going to see that a knife like this will work real well. Ken McClanahan and Shockey White now are going to give you an idea, Texas style, how they work on a deer to field dress it to where you can carry it home with you. And it's not a complicated thing, but if you'll follow what they're doing here, it may help you on the next time that you field dress one. First thing he's going to do is work on the skin right up here in this brisket area. Go ahead, Ken.
Yeah, John, what I usually try to do is cut with the flow of the fur that you see here. If you cut against it, you're going to be cutting up against a lot and knocking off a lot of hair into the meat and everything. So I always try to cut down into along the brisket area. And you can go ahead and cut all the way down to the bone in here, because you're not going to be cutting into any of the interior part of the deer until you get down just to where the diaphragm or the sternum on the deer is, which is right here.
And you want to feel that with your finger.
Yep. So right below my finger here is the abdominal cavity of the deer, and then above here, of course, is the chest cavity.
Okay.
Now I'm going to try to keep the skin of the deer away from the abdominal cavity as I break open the skin, so that I won't puncture any of the interior part of the abdominal cavity. And you can see your knife needs to be pretty sharp to do this, because this hair is hard to cut through sometimes.
All he's cutting now is just the outside layer of the skin itself. Again, trying to keep the interior of this thing intact so you won't spill it open.
And now that we've cut down this far, John, you see this part of the deer here is the part that houses the abdominal cavity and keeps it intact and everything. Once we get through cutting through the sternum, we're going to go ahead and cut through here, again trying to assure that we don't cut into the abdominal cavity in doing so. So next thing we're going to do is come back up to the sternum, and then we're going to cut right down through the rib cage along the cartilage that's in here. And it takes a pretty hefty knife to do that.
Okay.
So you can see right here is the base of the ribs. And I usually go a little bit higher than some of them so I can get back up into the throat area once I've done that. But you can see the chest cavity is open. Now we're going to go down in towards the abdominal area. You'll get some blood flow from the bullet entry. Now I've pulled out the lining that houses the abdominal cavity here. That's what I'm pulling out right here, and that's what I'm going to be cutting down through. Again, trying to make sure that I don't get into any of the interior part.
All right, cut them at the shadow. You got shadow. There you go. Now, okay. If you do this right, you'll find that it will not be a messy chore to do this. And of course, it's something that's got to be done anyway within a short time from the time that you actually down the whitetail.
Okay, now that we've basically got the abdominal cavity open and the chest cavity open, the area that you see right in here is housing the diaphragm, which separates the abdominal cavity from the chest cavity. It goes all the way around through the back of the deer, and we're going to have to go in as soon as we get through cutting the throat of the deer and trim this all out. Now I'm going to go in up into the upper part of the neck area and cut through the throat of the deer, so that all the housing that's holding the lungs and heart and everything like that will be free. Okay, that's cut. Now the only thing holding the chest cavity together now is some sinew and, of course, the diaphragm. So we're going to start trimming the diaphragm, and from the bullet entry into the deer, there will be some blood that'll be pouring out. I'm just going to trim the diaphragm away all the way around from the chest cavity. This diaphragm is just a piece of meat or muscle tissue that's separating the abdominal cavity from the chest cavity, and it's fairly easy to cut through. Okay, John, now that we've got the diaphragm cut, the only thing that's holding the upper part of the chest cavity in now is just sinew, and we'll be severing that sinew and just pulling the heart, lungs, and other upper body portions down. As you can see, the sinew just separates real simple. And all the way down, diaphragm area, and down into the gut. Now, what I like to do at this point in time, if we can turn the deer around,
Okay.
is I will go ahead and separate the tail.
This is a real slick trick right here. We can get it here. Okay.
A lot of people won't do it this way. Is I'll cut on both sides of the deer tail, like what you see right here, and then the whole tail and rear part of it will come out. And we can turn it back around now. Now these will just slip right on out now.
You know, I guess one of the toughest things in dressing a deer is to get the hide off of him. And one of the things I hate when I'm dressing my deer is to have a lot of deer hair left on the carcass. It's awfully hard to wash off, as you know. And if you don't know, you'll experience, unless you do it like Daryle Lamonica shows Jeremy and several other guests at the Shirley Ranch.
Now I'd like to show you a way that an old-timer showed me how to skin a deer or elk or any small game like this. You make a cut all the way around his forefront knuckle right here. And we'll just take and pop him and take it off at the knuckle right here. We'll cut the other one. Then you just make a cut right across his foreleg, right on out to the other leg right there. This is so the hide don't have to really worry about getting into the meat so much. You try to just stay right under the skin now. That's the easiest way of doing it. Okay, now we're going to split him on up his throat right here. Okay, now we're going to take and cut him. You try to go up as high on his neck or however much of the neck meat that you'd like. You take and we'll make a cut right on around. Okay, as if you notice, we've hung him off the ground with a good sturdy rope and just tied it around his neck. You can tie to the antlers too, but in case you've shot him up in the neck or the throat area, his antlers will pull off. So you got to kind of be a little careful on doing that. I like to give myself a little more skin right here, and the reason we're going to pull down just starting, because we're going to tie a little rock on him. You don't have to worry about this meat attached to the hide here too much, because once it starts pulling, it'll pull free. We get around right here on the back. Turned around here, we can look at him. Get it started just deep enough right here. right there, because we'll put a little stone in here and we'll do that. Now we've got to go down. We've got him cut from his forelegs right here on up and just start him around. Now the rest of it's easy. We just want to split him down the middle here. Do this. We've done this one by not taking the entrails out. He's still as we shot him, so you got to be careful you don't get into the belly area. We'll go down and do the exact same thing just down the front. Try not getting into that paunch area, which I just did just a little bit right there. Gonna go down and do the same thing. Now we're going to take his back leg off right here. And this is always the I've always had the most difficult with this back joint. You really have to cut right below that knuckle. Everyone tries to cut pretty high on that back joint. You got to be a little lower than normal to cut through that. The back one's always given most hunters and sportsmen the toughest to cut. You almost have to feel for that joint right there. And we'll take him right here and go right out his. And we'll get on this side here and just open him up just like we did on the front side. Take him right down. I should get this knife just a hair sharper. Make sure you cut all the way through. Pretty much, so what we've basically done, we've taken the inside of his back legs up, we've split him just under the skin, right up through the middle. I like to just start this just to get it where it started down. Just so it'll all come off there as one piece. And you had to pull off, that's probably the toughest thing when you're skinning all wild animals. You get a lot of hair on this, like that when it's come. That's the reason we like to start here, because when you yank this hide off, it'll come off just like all you would pull skin off of a rabbit. Comes off, it's just nice and really neat and it's clean. Normally you can hang it like this, where it's off the ground, or you can lay a tarp underneath it to catch the meat and stuff after you've pulled the hide off. Okay, now I'm going to get a little stone and put it on here, and we'll give her a try. You want a nylon rope or something that's really soft that will cinch down and make a real tight knot right here and really cinch down. Now what I've taken is this rock, just a little smaller than your fist, so you can actually stick it right up under on the hair side of the hide. You put it right on there and it grabs right there. Then what you're going to do is take the rope and slip it right over the knot right here, so it cinches down. I like to really cinch down and get it where it just locks right in there. Now all we'll do is have my buddy start the truck and back up. You got to make sure it stays nice and tight right here. You pull it up. I'll keep a little tension right here on it to back up. As you watch, it'll start coming. Once it goes, well, the important thing, once it starts, you just keep right on going. Just go ahead and take it right on off. Watch it, and just ought to come off there just really slick. There he is. See, you couldn't even tell that with the hide on. See, it was a chest shot. The bullet exited right here, and you couldn't even, it stayed right under the hide. Just hang him a little farther like that, and he comes off. There's no hair on it. Nice little buck. I've always liked to skin them this way because I like to get a lot of my hides tanned. If you're going to make a pair of gloves or, you know, whatever you want out of it, there's no nicks or cut-throughs with your knives, no mistakes. It comes off awful clean, and when you send it to the tannery, it'll come back just all one pretty piece of tanned hide.
I'd like to give special thanks to Mr. and Mrs. David Shirley and their sons, who own the Shirley Ranch in Sonora, Texas, for being our host on this Deer Hunting Made Simple video. You know, one thing in our videos, we'll never take you to a place or recommend a place that you as a hunter can't go to. And this particular place is open for deer hunting. You can call the number on the screen here now and get in touch with David Shirley, his wife, or his sons. You know, good deer hunting just doesn't happen. To have deer of this quality, like you see here on my wall, takes a lot of conservation, a lot of preparation. We had a chance to visit, in my opinion, was one of the top conservationists and sportsmen in the state of Texas. He's from Brownwood, Texas, and his name is Dr. Seal Cuthbert. Today we're in Brownwood, Texas. You know, they call this the new deer capital of Texas and the USA. Some of the finest deer hunting in all of the 50 states is found right here within just you might say, a good baseball throw of Brownwood, Texas. We're a guest of our good friend D.W. Mitchell. He's the Budweiser man. He's got 6 counties for Anheuser-Busch here in this particular area. He's quite a sportsman himself. He likes to hunt and fish, and he's invited us today to come out and meet Dr. Seal Cuthbert, who has a deer management program going here in the Brownwood area. His area has always been noted as one of the better deer areas in this part of the country, and we're going to be showing you some things they're doing to preserve deer hunting for future generations and to assure you, our viewers, when you come to the Brownwood area, that this is a place to come for the finer points of deer hunting and, of course, some of the better bucks and the does that abound here. Does, we're going to be talking about those too. We're going to meet now, if we can, Dr. Cuthbert. Seal, I'm awfully glad to be here.
Thank you, John.
And you're living, of course, in Brownwood. Yes. And I think your brother, we noticed his ranch next door, and he has what I call a deer-proof fence around it. It's like stands up probably as high as this roof, but I'm assuming it's to keep the deer in, right?
Yeah. 8.5 feet high.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's awfully expensive today to build a fence like that. In fact, we talked earlier, I think $10,000 to $11,000 a mile. So, I mean, there's probably a motive there maybe for preserving these deer to where, you know, people can see them, or maybe where he can enjoy them. And talking a while ago about the way you enjoy deer and game, the turkey that abound here in Brownwood, and also some of the deer. Tell us a little bit about what you're trying to do here.
Well, somewhere about 1950, there were a few deer in this country, and most of those deer were real large deer. They were very seldom seen, and sometimes you'd go to one of the tanks, water holes, and see some tracks around there, and that's about all the deer you ever saw, but we knew there were deer here. They planted deer in here. The Fish, Game, and Wildlife Commission put deer in here, and then had a period of time when there was no hunting while these deer reproduced and populated the area. They did real well, as this is real good deer country, and they spread over a large area here, and now then a large part of this county and some of the other surrounding counties are pretty heavily populated with deer. This probably is about the center of the large population, and actually we are to the point now where we're doing much like they did down around Llano, where the deer became overpopulated. There was not enough browse for all of them. They became smaller, and now then they have a lot of deer down there, but they're very small deer and have very small horns. We'd like to increase the size of the horns, reduce the population, and try to grow really some trophy bucks. To do that, it's necessary to manage the deer and to, a lot of people don't like this, but you've got to kill off a bunch of your doe population to keep the population generally down, and to try to raise the number of bucks in proportion to the number of does, so you do have good hunting. There are also a question now about inferior bucks and these spike bucks. I personally think that most of these spike bucks are inferior bucks, that most of them will never grow horns that are amount to anything, and a lot of them will never get out of the spike stage. So we try to kill all of the spike bucks that we see. And if we do this, we manage the herd pretty carefully, and we do grow some real magnificent white-tailed deer in this area.
Well, you know, I was talking to your son-in-law. By the way, where did he go? I know he was here a minute ago. I want to try to introduce him, if I can, to you. One thing he mentioned to me that's just outstanding,
Come on
and
over
that
here,
is that there's a deer for every 5.4 acres on this ranch. Am I right on that? 5.4 acres?
That's what they counted.
Yeah. Russell, how you doing?
How are you?
Good. Now, I was just making a statement, and I, of course, want you to back me up on this. If I'm wrong, tell me that, you know, for a deer to be on every 80 acres, you know, DW, we were talking, is just a pretty good population. But to have one every 5.4 acres, am I right on that? That's
right.
What your population is here. Well, then you've got to do something then to manage these deer. Of course, the best way in the world to do it is like you say, to take your inferior type of bucks, your spikes, and of course you've got to take some does. If not, the field a lot of times will just be full of does, and they're eating what maybe the bucks could eat, especially when maybe grocers get a little bit scarce, you know. What about we were talking about big horns. You know, the Wild Ranch in Kerrville has been an awfully successful operation for growing big horns. Are you planning on doing that here on your deer, or are you doing any of it now?
Well, not to any extent at this point. We are supplying them with some grains
Uh-huh.
as far as growing oats and stuff like that in the wintertime, try to help them out. In the future, we might think about trying some supplemental programs to help our bighorns.
Yeah. Well, right now you've got, as I've noticed on the hill over here, you've got a lot of live oak, and I'm sure there's a big acorn crop here. And then we've got the field out here that's just planted in oats. And as the camera scans here, we want to call your attention to something here. The field you're looking at here across the road is one that was planted at the same time this field was planted. And you notice how green it is. Yet this one over here looks like there's very few oats coming up at all. This is an important point, the fact that because of a management program over here, the fact that the deer field protected and taken on some kind of a managed type of basis, they've managed to keep the deer herd, and they've got it absolutely mowed to the ground compared to what it looks like over there.
Seal, one question I'd like to ask you regarding deer management. You don't have any high fences around your place. Everything is fair chase. We talked earlier about the fact that a lot of the deer on your place go to other places and provides good hunting. But the fact that you don't have a high fence around it has got to mean excellent management. Now, we've got a set of horns that you got here, I think 3 years ago you talked about. Let's show them to kind of give people an idea of what you can raise in Texas with the right management program.
Well, John, this is a deer that I killed 3 years ago. I don't do very much hunting anymore, but I saw this deer and realized this might be the biggest white-tailed deer that I'd ever see and have a chance to kill. So I did kill this one deer. One of the things you have to do basically is let deer grow to 6 or 7 years old so that they can grow these massive horns and get enough base to them that they can get enough spread to really make a trophy buck. There's a lot of nutritious things that go into raising deer, and one of the most important things is not to get an overpopulation. They compete with each other for what forbs and what browse they can get, and if there's too many deer, some of them get left out. In fact, all of them are cut down on their nutrition. So this deer was probably a 6 or 7 year old deer that had adequate nutrition, and you can see not only the length and size and everything, but the size of the beam down here and the width. And this is truly a real trophy set of horns. And I guess this is what everybody wants.
Well, you know, this morning early, driving into the ranch, we saw two tremendously big bucks. In fact, one, Russell, your son-in-law, mentioned to us that he thinks was actually bigger than this deer. We saw a deer riding around earlier that jumped the fence that even looked bigger than this deer. Now, this is a good set of horns. Here's your 20-inch spread, probably plus, and you hear about this, but a lot of times you don't witness this. But there again, with proper deer management, this is something that can be accomplished, and this is what Seal Cuthbert, of course, has done here in the Brownwood area.
Well,
It's a funny thing, but deer always look bigger when you see them out running around. And once you shoot them and get them down and measure them out, they usually are quite a bit smaller. There's a lot of trophy bucks that are just magnificent bucks that people see that get away. And that's why I always feel like if you get a deer like this, chances are you may never see another one that really measures out this large.
I hear that.
But it's a lot of fun to hunt, and I think that most people much rather be hunters than killers, and occasionally find a deer like this. The rest of the hunting we do mostly is doe hunting to depopulate the area so it doesn't get overpopulated. If you get too overpopulated, a lot of people don't realize it, but if you get too overpopulated and deer get under stressful conditions when you have a cold freezing rain, if they're not in good condition, you'll have a large die-off, and you might have 25–30% of your deer one year all of a sudden just die out in the pasture. So good management is necessary in order to keep a good healthy herd of deer.
Well, it can be done, and it can be done without a deer-proof fence, as Seal has proven here. We hope that the deer hunting video that you've just viewed will make you a more successful deer hunter. Daryle Lamonica, the host on this show, along with Jeremy, prove that if you prepare yourself right, if you'll visit areas where deer have a conservation type of background as far as protection, that you too can score. There are lots of public lands using the tricks and some of the things that Daryle Lamonica showed Jeremy just could make you a better deer hunter. We hope so. Be sure to watch for some of our other videos in the Outdoor Adventures video library. This is a hunting and fishing home video cassette library designed to make you a better fisherman and also a better hunter. This is John Fox. Thanks for watching.
If you're serious about deer hunting, take some advice from world-renowned outdoorsman Leroy Brongard.
Do you often wonder why some guides, outfitters, and hunters bring home the big bucks year after year? I've found a product I feel confident to recommend as a natural scent to actually attract deer to your hunting location. It's called Deer Chum. It's a blend of natural ingredients in the form of a biodegradable liquid that produces a scent that deer crave. Now, it doesn't take the sport out of the hunt. You're still going to bag your own trophy, but it sure makes it easier when you can get them in range. It comes in a handy 12-ounce bottle, enough for 2 or 3 seasons, all for $9.95 plus $2 for shipping and handling. I've seen it work, and it's amazing.
To receive Deer Chum within 10 days, use your Visa or MasterCard and call now, 1-800-821-7700, or mail check or money order for $9.95 plus $2 postage and handling to Box 530, Oregon, Missouri, 64473.
The Outdoor Adventure Video Library presents The Art of Bow Hunting. On this video cassette, you'll join Daryle Lamonica, the Mad Bomber from Oakland Raiders, Jim Doherty, one of America's top archers, and 10 of America's finest pro archers, as they show you the hows, whens, and wheres of being a successful bow hunter. Actual hunting sequences, tuning the bows. Walter Payton even puts in his tips. You'll also see in this tape an actual bull elk being harvested with a bow and arrow. Tips on becoming a better archer. They're all here in this videotape.